The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
The Attitude Era is widely considered by many as the greatest product the WWE has ever had. Now, relive the entire journey with exclusive commentary, insights, and episodic discussion with head writer Vince Russo.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Raw, What It Was Good For. Jeff Lane and myself are going to be looking at the Attitude Era, a show from February 2nd, 1998, a very pivotal show for a lot of reasons. Jeff, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yes, this show was monumental for two reasons, I thought, which we'll get into.
Jeff, let's get started with the show. February 2nd, 1998. I want to say this, Jeff. I vividly remember this open with DX. Absolutely vividly. I wrote it. I'm not going to be ashamed that I wrote it. I ripped it off of George Carlin's. How many words was it that you couldn't say on TV?
I think it was 7, but I don't remember for sure.
A blatant rip-off. That's where I got it from. My favorite part of this had nothing to do with me. It was in the editing where they had that little censorship graphic ping pong in between Shawn and Hunter. I thought that was genius. I absolutely love that. Bro, I'm begging people. When you watch a DX promo and Shawn is not talking and Triple H is, watch Shawn Michaels. I am begging you, don't watch Triple H, watch Shawn Michaels. Nobody can sell an interview the way Shawn can non-verbally. And this is what I was looking at this opening promo. Like I said, Jeff, I remember this vividly. It was a lot of fun to do. Bro, listen, we were making it blatantly clear. We were going for ratings. We wanted ratings. If Shawn would have said it one more time on this show, it was getting to the point of being comical. But listen, we were in a Monday Night War. We were looking to get the ratings back, and we were making that crystal clear to everybody.
You know what else I got a kick out of was watching Chyna in the background as well, because she stood there stone-faced while these guys are saying these ridiculous things. But then when Triple H mentioned their enormous genitalia, then she rolled her eyes and kind of made a grin. So I enjoyed watching her as much as Shawn. Is it true that this was based on a letter from the USA Network?
Yes, it was. Absolutely was. Yes. And Jeff, here's the thing that cracks me up. Is here we are 15 years later, right? Whatever it is, 98. So what, 17 years later, bro? Almost 18? And they try to use as an excuse, ratings don't matter anymore. You know what I'm saying? We're blatantly saying here, it's all about ratings. All that matters are ratings. We're going to do and say whatever we have to do, get ratings. Television, bro, has not changed one iota. Advertising dollars are based on ratings. That's how the networks sell their advertising. That's how they make money. Nothing's changed. And I just love the fact that we were just so blatantly in your face. Listen, everything we're doing on this show, we're trying to get ratings.
Do you remember if USA had any feedback on this after it?
Bro, USA was totally cool. It was unbelievable, bro. Working with Bonnie Hammer at USA and then later going to TBS and TNT and then Spike TV. Bro, it was like night and day. You know, USA. Bro, the thing was with USA, all we had to do was if we were going to do something that was going to light up their switchboard, they just wanted a heads up. They just wanted to be prepared. That's it. But when you told them, there wasn't an argument or a debate or like, bro, at the end of my run at Spike, they were basically writing the show, bro. It was like absolutely ridiculous. USA Network never went anywhere near the show. If we thought we were walking the line, they just wanted us to give them a heads up. That's it, bro.
But then we go to the actual show open, and then DX comes out, and Shawn and Triple H are dressed like Uncle Sam, and they got like these signs. They're obviously campaigning for something. And one of them, Triple H just says, I'm standing at 8 inches. China's holding a Tyson versus Austin sign, and all these balloons drop from the ceiling. And what they're campaigning for is they want Austin and Tyson to fight each other. And they get the crowd chanting, let them fight, let them fight. You know, JR says the key line here was Shawn Michaels trying to promote a fight or get out of one at WrestleMania. And that's obviously what he's trying to do. So Austin comes out, gets face-to-face with Michaels. The heat and the tension in this segment was unbelievable. The way they sold this, I mean, you don't see this today. You really don't. And he said, that it doesn't matter what day, if it's WrestleMania, if it's not WrestleMania, the belt's going to him. And you see the facials on DX, how this went from them being goofy and joking to like absolutely serious. They're not joking anymore by the time Stone Cold hits the ring, and it takes real professionals to sell that the way they did. I thought that was phenomenal.
But you know what? You know what this is a case of here again, Jeff? This is a case of all these guys, Austin, Shawn, Triple H, coming through the system and working in different territories with different promoters and basically like expanding their game and learning a little something from everybody. This is all character development. You know, I'm gonna lay out some things that I really loved here. And again, you know, Jeff, this is where I really take it personal when people say to me, or they say, oh, you know, Vince tries to take credit for the Attitude Era. This is where I really take it personally, because what got it so over, Jeff, were the little things that I never had to tell the talent. They knew based on experience. Here's a couple of things. Big character traits, bro. Huge character traits that helped define their characters and kept their characters consistent. I use the word consistent a lot. Jeff, let's start with Shawn Michaels. Okay. Obviously, if they can get out of the match with Stone Cold Steve Austin, of course, Shawn would rather not fight Stone Cold Steve Austin. But, bro, what happens the second Austin gets in his face? You don't see the Seth Rollins, the begging. You don't see any of that. Shawn is right in his face, not blinking. So that is telling me, yeah, the guy's a clown, the guy's a derelict, the guy's an a-hole, the guy's all these things. But you know what? If you want to fight him, he'll fight you. I mean, just him standing there, nose to nose. That's defining the Shawn Michaels character. I said it a couple of weeks ago when he cut that straightaway promo on Taker. You know, this is a point in time, Jeff, where we specifically said the white hats and the black hats don't work anymore. It's 1998. That BS doesn't work anymore. The fact that they've reverted back to it 18 years later is just comical. Absolutely comical. And here's another thing, bro. Little thing. As I'm watching Austin come down that ramp, and I'm thinking to myself, bro, do you ever remember Austin running to the ring?
Only if it was like an interference in a match or a surprise. It was never on an entrance. Yeah.
You were going to wait on him. All eyes were going to be on him. He was going to throw Bro, that's character development. That's something that Vince Russo never had to tell Steve Austin. All right, Steve, you're never going to run to the ring. This is how you're going to walk. I never had to tell Shawn Michaels, Shawn, you're going to stand in order. I never had to tell these guys this. And like I said, bro, I say it all the time, and they can say whatever they want. You know, Steve had worked a bunch of territories. Shawn had worked a bunch of territories. While you're in these territories, bro, you're learning from all these different people, and you're fine-tuning your game. I don't care what anybody says. As great a place as the Performance Center is, all those people are going through the same education with the same people day after day after day. And not only that, bro, you got to remember this. It's very political. So it's, they have to make sure the trainers now, and we should talk to DeMott about this, but they have to make sure they're all on the same page. They're all getting the same point across. Bro, when you're going from territory to territory to territory, and, Steve Austin is going from a Jerry Jarrett, to a WCW, and Shawn Michaels, is in an AWA. There's like no politics involved in those little territories. It's one guy telling you what to do. Then you go into the next territory. Another guy's telling you what to do. It's not like everybody on the same page. Make sure we're all getting the same message across. That's what you're getting today, bro. But, like I said, it's just the little freaking things. And Shawn standing there like no selling Austin, to me, was just absolutely great and tremendous. And you know why? Because, bro, you don't have to make Shawn the chicken shit heel. Some people are going to boo Shawn because they love Austin and you're an a-hole. Or some people are going to say, this guy's got a set of balls to stand up to Steve Austin. Either way, as long as they reacted to it, it didn't matter which way they went, as long as they were tuning in to watch the show.
And sometimes no reaction is the best reaction. Instead of doing a cartoony, throwing a fit, Shawn Michaels just stood there looking Austin right in the eye with no facial expression. And you could tell how he was steaming, just looking at Austin while his entire promo. And that is how you make real tension a lot of times. So
yeah, I really, 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 really thought that was a great open all around.
They put over the three matches that are going to take place tonight. We're going to have Owen Hart versus Billy Gunn for the European title. Stone Cold's going to wrestle Road Dogg. And coming up next is Cactus Jack versus Chainsaw Charlie in a no-holds-barred, like hardcore rule type match. So at this point, it's funny because that match, Cactus and Charlie, is just laid out as one of three matches for tonight. But what follows with this was just like one of the best moments of wrestling television I remember, you know what I mean? And it starts off with Chainsaw Charlie, Terry Funk. He comes out with like a garbage bin looking thing full of weapons.
You got to back up. You're missing something that I thought was great, Jeff.
Yeah, that's all right. Charlie comes out, and before Cactus comes out, they go to the video that you're talking about. And it's Jim Ross sitting down, and this is the second week in a row we've had a Foley Funk before the show behind the scenes type deal. But JR's sitting down with him and he's asking them why they're fighting because they asked for this match. WWF didn't put him in this match. They asked for it. So Foley talks about how, he's living on borrowed time because he was told he was going to be in a wheelchair when he's 30, and if he's going to go down swinging, as much as he loves Dude Love and he's a cool cat, he's going to go down swinging as Cactus Jack. He may go down swinging with Terry Funk tonight. And, Funk puts over how he loves him like his own son. This is what leads into the story in the match because there was a great story told during the match before even we get into the chaos that happens afterwards. But this sets this up. So at this point, it's hard a lot of times on Raw to not have every match, be a cold match. And this totally made this not a cold match at all just by watching this thing at the beginning.
Yeah, Jeff, there were a couple of things about this. First of all, you got to go back. I know for a fact. The last couple of shows we were watching, how many times did Jim Ross say, these guys are a team, but they love to fight each other? He's been saying that for the last 3 weeks. So this did not come out of nowhere. Ross has been saying this for weeks. Bro, the story Mick was talking about when he went backstage and a champion said, I'm 99.9% sure he was talking about Ric Flair. that because there were issues there, very early on when Mick was doing all that crazy stuff. That was new to the business back then, bro. Nobody was doing that, and I know Flair took exception to that. So that story Mick was telling was about Flair, even though we didn't mention by name. But this is the thing, Jeff. This is the thing people don't understand. Bro, I wasn't even involved in this, Jeff. There was no scripting this. There was no Mick, you say this, then Terry. I was not even involved in this. This was JR going with those guys. I'm sure I was off shooting something else. Do you think that ever takes place in the WWE today, bro? Do you think there's one scene that's not scripted? And it doesn't matter who it is. I mean, Big Show's been there since before I left. He's been there for 20 years, bro. I guarantee you he's not doing promos on his own. This is, okay, Mick, you be Mick. Terry, you be Terry. Here's the situation. You guys go. And they were phenomenal. They were great. They told an interesting story, and it set the stage.
So after that package, then Cactus Jack comes out, and he comes out with a dumpster. The match starts up on the stage. I got a kick out of that small package, and they just rolled down the ramp. Like, I don't remember that, and I have never seen that before or since, but I thought that was creative and funny at the same time. There was a story told during the match, which was really cool because, after what you talked about, JR putting over, they like to fight each other. Well, they're telling each other, hit me in the head, and then, Mick won't hit Terry in the head, and then they reverse it, does the same thing. Terry goes off the ropes with the can, he's going to hit Mick, I'm not going to do it. But then as soon as Foley turns his back, then like that enrages Funk, like, you're not going to turn your back on me. So then he hits him. So, I thought that was a cool story told in 30 seconds in the middle of a match. And then we go to commercial, which when you see what comes afterwards, there's no escaping this with how long this played out. You have to take a commercial at some point. We come back, and the match ends up back up on the stage. Cactus Jack climbs up onto the Titantron scaffolding after he puts Funk into the dumpster, hits the mandible claw on him. So he climbs up, does his elbow off the screen into the dumpster. Then the New Age Outlaws come out, and they lock the dumpster with both these guys inside, okay? They go, they do this big tease. It's not instant. Like, they're building the anticipation. What are we going to do with these guys? We got them locked in the dumpster. It was great. They're going this way. They're going this way. They're looking at the crowd, and then they push them off the stage. JR sells it unbelievably. There's people in there. They fall off the stage in the dumpster. Officials, wrestlers, they come out, they open the dumpster. You see these guys, and they're showing concern. There's chaos. The camera crowd's going everywhere. We go to commercial. You go to commercial like, what the heck just happened? You see a shot of them not moving in the dumpster. Vince McMahon even comes out. You see realism here as he's having a conversation with the Outlaws, and he's trying to hide what he's saying, but it looks like the Outlaws went too far. Here's the owner reprimanding them for him, and the Outlaws kind of look like kids in the principal office. Like, what? They're trying to explain themselves. And then we go to commercial and before it continues. But let's get your thoughts on this up to the first commercial before the EMTs even come out.
Well, first of all, bro, with these two guys back, Terry and Mick were always very, very close. Bro, these are about two of the closest guys you're ever going to find in the business, really. I mean, the respect that Mick Foley had for Terry Funk, and Terry Funk loved Mick Foley. So, these two were going to pull out all the stops. There was nothing they were not going to do for each other. I loved the pile driver with Terry Funk in the. I thought that was brilliant. I hated going to break. I was saying, what the frig are we going to break for? I absolutely hated it. But it's kind of like you just said, Jeff. As I'm watching this and I'm going to break, the thing I'm thinking in my mind is, how can you not watch this? How can you possibly take your eyes off of this? Now, listen, I'm not the amazing Kreskin. I can't tell the future. I challenge anybody to watch all 3 hours of Raw tonight and watch where they take the breaks during the matches. there's no reason in the world to come back and watch the match. I mean, like you said, if all of a sudden I see this chick on NBC with all these tattoos, you've lost me for the night. There's no reason. When I'm watching this, I hated the break spot in the middle of the match, but how do you not come back? This was a spectacle, bro. This is why you had hardcore matches, Jeff, because people that aren't wrestling fans are going to be interested in something with garbage cans and dumpsters and all kinds of visuals out there. Television is very visual. That's why you had these kind of matches.
Well, and that, I mean, I think you get a free pass on this commercial during the match because you got to take 5 commercial breaks in the hour, and this finished the hour. By the time this was done, it was hour 2. You know what I mean? So you got to get I'll give you a free pass on that one anyway. But one thing I got a kick out of, like, did you hear Terry Funk yelling from the dumpster? He said, "My back, my GD back, somebody come here, you mother effers." And like, they didn't bleep it. Like you could hear it clear as day. Like, I got
you know what was a really nice touch? See, bro, again, Jeff, you got to understand something. This is what I'm talking about, like lack of effort. Okay, Jeff, I did not write this. I did not know that this was going to take place, but I'm watching this today and I'm saying that's genius and that's great. And whose ever call it was brilliant. Bro, did you hear Bruce Pritchard over the headsets?
No, I didn't. Totally missed it.
You hear Bruce Pritchard over the headsets, like kind of telling him what to do. I'm going to stay with this, like the director talking. I don't even remember discussing that. That certainly did not come from my head. But as I'm watching this today and I'm hearing Bruce, you don't see Bruce. You hear Bruce in the background amongst all this chaos. And I'm like, that's what I mean, bro, about going the extra step. I mean, oh my God, bro. To me, that was absolutely brilliant.
So when we come back from commercial, the EMTs are finally out, and they've gotten the Foley and Funk out of the dumpster, and they're starting to put the neck braces on. Sonny's there crying. Flash Funk comes out all mad, and he starts going after the Outlaws, which, looked awesome. And then there was a pull apart there, which also looked great, which eventually leads into a brawl involving the Outlaws. The Headbangers get involved, Flash Funk and others. You see Ken Shamrock coming in there pulling people apart. You see Vince McMahon getting PO'd. It's not Vince McMahon the character at this point. You know what I mean? It's like something's going on here that's out of control. But I thought it looked absolutely great. And then the guys get taken off in the ambulance and it drives away. And we see Sonny. I swear Sonny was trying to win an Emmy here for this scene. Like, I don't know what that was all about. I guess that's what she was involved in for the night, but she had the tears flowing there.
Bro, I remember literally I'm watching this, right? And I'm saying to myself, when all this chaos is happening out there, oh my God, how did some of the boys not jump Road Dogg and Billy? How did we miss that? And then sure enough, Flash Funk. I mean, so like, bro, I'm thinking these things like 20, I'm thinking them now watching this, and then sure enough. But a couple things I want to point out, bro. This was rehearsed all day long. If you saw, Jeff, there was like you saw a black garbage bag inside the dumpster when Foley took the bump. Well, there was all kinds of padding, and the black garbage bag, covered all the padding on the bottom, padding. I mean, we padded the wazoo out of that. The whole thing was rehearsed during the day. But again, Mero being out there being concerned, Windham was out there being concerned, hearing Bruce on the headsets, the slow mowing it was awesome. And what about JR? Bro, you know what's beautiful about this? Here's what's beautiful about this, bro. And you when you watch these shows, you gotta listen to the audio because you'll miss so much. JR makes the statement, oh yeah, I know you at home are gonna say though that they know how to fall. Jeff, this is at the start of the internet when they're discussing all this stuff and all this BS. And that JR says at one point, well, you have your good guys and you have your bad guys. They're addressing, this is when kayfabe is starting to go out the window, because, you know, the guys like Meltzer's and Keller's back then were talking about all this crap. And that's why JR made the statement, oh, yeah, you're going to say that you guys learn how to fall. You would have never said that. You would have never said that 6 months prior to this show. And I crack up because he brings it up a couple of matches later with Murrow. He goes, yeah, Murrow and a couple of his buddies have websites. That's the beauty of this, bro. You are seeing the wrestling business change in front of your eyes, and we're addressing it as it's changing. That's why, bro, when I look at today's product, how the decision was made to go backwards, like I don't understand. They could have kept going down this road and evolving and evolving and evolving, but the truth is, Jeff, they didn't know how to, because they didn't have real writers. They had wrestling people involved in the creative. So rather than keep going forward with this, they've backpedaled 20 years. And that explains why we have. But just beautiful things to watch here as the business is progressing right in front of everybody's very eyes.
That really surprises me that this was rehearsed all day. I mean, I'm really surprised, because the way this comes off on TV, like, it looked so real and so chaotic, like that you couldn't plan something like that. So the fact that they pulled that off is great, man.
They did not rehearse the dumpster actually going off the stage. You see what I'm saying? Like, everything was rehearsed, how they were going to do it, how everybody was going to come out, like all that. But they did not roll that dumpster, you know, off the stage. So, I mean, they did, because obviously we would have done damage to it. So they God, bro, I hope I'm right about that. I don't remember. I remember a lot of rehearsal. I don't remember them taking that bump. But who knows, bro? Road Dogg and Billy would obviously know that. I may have forgotten. I just don't remember that part of it.
When it comes to planning out something like this, and you have so many players involved, not just the main players, but all the extras, when all the boys come out and they get involved, and Sonny crying, how hard is that? I mean, is that something where you have to bring all these people together at once and say, at this point, you're doing this, so everybody's on the same page?
No,
or do they just go into business?
It's much more organic than that. You know, like you get everybody involved, but you know, again, bro, these are pros. So they're all doing what their character would be doing. But, bro, I got to tell you something, and this is what pisses me off all the time. I hate when people talk about Kevin Dunn online, because, first of all, they don't have a clue to what this guy does. They have no – Kevin Dunn is not involved creatively at all. The most important thing when they're shooting something like this that Kevin Dunn is involved with the entire day is, what shots is he getting? What camera is going to get what shot? He's mapping this out, bro, like it's a freaking Broadway play. You know, camera 2 is going to get this. Then we're going to switch to camera 3. Then we're going to switch to... That's what made this scene. And that's why, bro, a guy like Kevin Dunn never gets credit for anything. Do you know how much technically is involved in doing this right? Bro, at TNA, I would have never, ever suggested anything like that, because you just didn't have the people in the spots that were able to pull it off. But the directing of all this, what cameras to go to when Vince is confronting the Outlaws, when, like you said, Sonny's crying, that's all freaking Kevin Dunn, bro. There is an art and a mastery to that.
So after this, the Outlaws are immediately on camera, and JR is asking them, what are they thinking? And like, man, Road Dogg played this so great, because it was like he was conflicted. Do I feel bad, or am I proud of what I did? Like, that came across to me. So, like, you know, JR's like, they got families, and then Road Dogg, like, so do we. You know what I mean? Like, that was great. I'm taking an opportunity to get over when I present it. And then DX comes in to kind of stir the pot. And you know, and Shawn Michaels is talking about the ratings, how you mentioned it, and when does it end? Ask Vince McMahon when it ends, and Triple H is like, suck it up, the show goes on. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they're giving them a post-game pep talk, like you know what I mean? Like you feel like you lost, but you really won type of deal. That's what I got out of it anyway. I thought that was really good, especially the way Road Dogg played that off. And after that, they announced that Michael Cole's been sent to the hospital for updates.
Yeah, I love that scene, bro. And I totally forgot DX was coming in and busting it. But again, bro, listen. You're in a ratings war at this point. It's a shoot. It's really happening. For Shawn to say, raise the bar, ratings was so beautiful, bro. And, then again, it's like you just go back to the fake wrestling of today. And they made a left when they should have made a right, bro.
So that ends the first hour. And, I had a note here. I think this is the show that made the Outlaws. You know what I mean? This show made the Absolutely. New Age Outlaws
without
superstars.
A doubt. Yes, Jeff, that's a great observation. Without a doubt.
And a lot of it, so much went into it, not just their performances, but what Foley and Funk did, taking that off the stage, DX getting, the whole complete package. I feel like this show accomplished, the New Age Outlaws are now superstars, and this episode did that. And it's hard to see episodes today where you're like, you know what, this episode just made this guy. You know what I mean? I thought they did do that at the Survivor Series with Ziggler, you know what I mean? But then they dropped the ball.
Because you know what? You know why, Jeff?
Why?
Those moments that you're talking about are not wrestling matches. That's why I told you, bro, especially with the girls, that more than anything, they keep putting these girls, Seth Rollins, out there in great wrestling matches. How many great wrestling matches have they had to this point? How much more over have they gotten? Here's the problem, bro. Seth Rollins goes out there and has a great wrestling match. You kind of become numb to it. You're kind of like, okay, Seth's going to go out and have a great wrestling match. This was an incident that had nothing to do with wrestling, all character driven. Bro, I wrote a note here. This carried on, bro. When Billy now goes out there to wrestle Owen, bro, freaking Road Dogg has like tears in his eyes. Like he literally, like I thought he was going to cry. And it's exactly what you said, Jeff. This one episode made these guys stars, and it had nothing to do with a 10-star wrestling match. It had to do with character development. Literally a half an hour's worth of character development. Again, bro, I can't explain to you how they've forgotten to do that over the years. I can't.
Yeah, and it's funny because we're going to see a lot of episodes like this coming up where building blocks are put into place. Because, yeah, WCW won the ratings this night. I don't know what the exact ratings were. Somebody said we should talk about those. I thought that was a pretty good idea. But listen, WCW wins the night, but that's not the point. The point here is for the future, this episode just turned the New Age Outlaws into stars that WWF is putting up on that roster now that's going to help them eventually beat WCW. And this is just one of those moments that eventually leads to that. So I thought that was really cool and a monumental episode. But the second hour starts with the Owen Hart, Billy Gunn European Championship match. And when Owen goes for the sharpshooter, Road Dogg comes in to cause the DQ. And then, of course, DX comes out because Triple H still has beef with Owen taking his European title with him not even being in the match. So that storyline's still going on. So DX comes out in the Outlaws, and they're teaming on Owen. And then Triple H DDTs Owen on the stairs. And it's like they took out – it's like they're trying to dismantle their opponents for the pay-per-view as well as the storyline that's going on. They took out Jack and Funk earlier. Now they're taking out Owen. And DX is trying to get the Outlaws to throw Owen off the stage at this point. And they're doing this swing and building anticipation. Then they stop, and then Triple H gets involved. No, do it. So they start to do it again, like they're going to throw him off. And then the WWE officials and referees, they come out and they break it up and stop this from happening. But if what happened earlier didn't happen, I think the anticipation for this wouldn't have even existed. That's what built this. Like, oh my God, are they going to throw Owen off after what we just saw? And as we go to break, JR says, don't go away. Michael Cole's going to be in from the hospital. But another big non-wrestling incident here on the stage.
Remember that word non-wrestling, because I'm going to need that for the next segment. Remember you said that, bro. My biggest pop in this whole segment was when DX starts coming down the aisle. What does JR say?
I don't remember.
Oh, here they come, the big men on campus. I popped huge. I just thought that was incredibly funny for some reason.
But, it's key. I don't know if people notice things like this, but Triple H had to give Owen the DDT because that's the storyline. You know what I mean? It's not the Outlaws versus Owen. It's not Shawn Michaels versus Owen. It's Triple H versus Owen. It's going to come to a head at WrestleMania, but that's just a key thing. If somebody's going to give a DDT to Owen, it has to be Triple H, and that's really good.
And Shawn continued this story when it was all broken up on the side of the stage, screaming at Road Dogg and Billy, man, up your game, suck it up your game. Just continued that story on.
And I loved how when Michael Cole, they come back and Michael Cole's on the phone. And instead of cutting to a video of him on a pre-tape with the camera crew and people in the background, we get a realistic, like, CNN reporter sounding phone call. Like when you turn on breaking news on CNN, when some big tragedy happens, you always have these reporters phoning in, and it's always breaking up. And, they got their picture on the screen, but it's never a shot of them because they had to hurry and get this in. To me, I thought this added realism to it. I liked that aspect. But he says right now the information is hard to come by. There hasn't been an official statement, but he does know that Funk and Foley were immediately rushed into the emergency room. And JR gives him the instruction, you get any info, break in at any time. So, we're getting a bit by bit continuous thread here with this incident at the hospital, which is going to lead into further stuff with Michael Cole down the road. The whole thing on the phone, which I really enjoyed. Do you remember making that decision? Why was that developed? I thought it was great, honestly.
Yeah. Well, obviously, bro, to keep the story going and keep the people there. I mean, how many times watch the show again tonight? How many times does something happen? That's the end of it. It happens. It's over and done with. We've forgotten about it. This is to keep the story going for the length of the show, to keep the people tuned in. Another hook. Hooks don't exist anymore today, bro. They're non-existent.
We have a match. It's Mosh versus Mark Marrow, and Thrasher's with Mosh. Sable comes out with Mark Marrow, very revealing outfit, but Marrow puts the robe on her again to cover her up, and then orders him to disrobe him. And this is where JR says that line, and I was like, I was confused by this because it seemed like to me he was insinuating that Mark Marrow is like buddies with these dirt sheet writers. Like, he says Marrow needs to get on the internet and talk to his other wrestling buddies with their websites. Like, I was confused, like, why he insinuated that Mark Marrow was buddies with these guys. Do you remember anything like with that? Or
I don't remember. But here's my next favorite thing, bro. Bro, listen, you got to understand, so much of the stuff being said is a shoot. Okay, because the business is changing before your very eyes. And the line of the night is JR saying, somebody want to gag Mero, maybe we could have a wrestling match. That's JR shooting right there. Like, okay, Vince, we've seen enough with the entertainment. We've seen enough with the dumpsters. We've seen enough of it with DX at the beginning. Maybe we can have a wrestling match now. I mean, literally, bro, that's what he's saying. Because, again, bro, all the traditionalists at that point, it's like, what the F are they doing? And that's why when JR said that, I'm like, bro, he's 100% shooting. I mean, he is at this point, he's 100% shooting. I thought that was phenomenal. There's so much you can learn if you just freaking listen to what JR is saying, bro. You learn the whole history of how this transpired.
Before the match starts, Sable gets another delivery ringside, and this time it's chocolates, in a heart case. So Mero gets PO'd and he sends her to the back, and I laugh so hard. He's like, tells her to get back on the Stairmaster when she gets back there because it looks like she put on a few pounds. Like, just comments like that I always get a kick out of. I thought that was great. So then Mero says he wants somebody that's going to watch his back, and he starts singing "The Beautiful People" by Marilyn Manson. So then Goldust comes out looking like Marilyn Manson, and they end up having the match, and where there's distraction outside with Goldust and Thrasher that the ref is paying attention to. So Mero hits a low blow on Mosh and is able to roll him up for the win.
Bro, what about JR had a great line, because Mero's the boxer and everything, and JR said at one point, Mero's using his educated fists. I thought that was tremendous, bro. I thought that was what an expression, bro,
Yeah, and that's something he ended up using. He turned that into educated feet with like Rob Van Dam way down the road that he brought
did he
back.
really? I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Yeah. So, I think this is the first time he used something like that. The NWA is on the screen, and JR asked Barry Windham when he's going to be man enough to face Bradshaw. And so Windham and Bradshaw's listening on the other screen, which is cool. You don't see this very often where it's kind of like a news moderation where there's the guy in the studio and then they got two opponents on each screen. So Bradshaw's hearing this whole thing, and Windham challenges Bradshaw to grab a partner to face him and Jeff Jarrett. And Bradshaw flips out and, obviously accepts.
Bro, remember I was disappointed last week that we didn't follow up with Bradshaw. And I said to you, bro, it's going to be interesting to see if whether or not we follow up with the Bradshaw story. Sure enough. So I guess that week off he was supposed to get beat up bad enough, but he really didn't. But obviously we're right back now in the angle.
So we go to a vignette of Tiger Ali Singh, and this was kind of like a repackaged vignette because I know he had been on the show before. They show his lavish lifestyle, and he talks about how he's going to be the Asian Schwarzenegger and the Asian Sylvester Stallone, but he doesn't want to lose sight of his main goal, which is to be the best fighter in the world. That was basically it. It's just one of those things that I always thought was done well, where they're getting a character over before he's reintroduced or initially introduced onto TV, and that's what this was attempting to do with Tiger.
Now again, Jeff, what's the reason for not doing that today outside of lack of effort? It's not money. We know it's not money. Outside of lack of effort, what's the reason that we never see vignettes anymore? Shoot, bro, you see vignettes in UFC when they're freaking building fighters.
Next is Farouk versus Chains, and the entire nation's out with Farouk, and Skull, 8-Ball, Ken Shamrock, and Ahmed Johnson are out with Chains because they announced that in No Way Out there's going to be a war of attrition 10-man match with the entire nation versus the DOA, Shamrock, and Johnson. It was weird hearing Chains announced at 300 pounds. I don't know if you noticed this. I know the weights aren't always accurate, but the fact that he's being announced at 300, he's a big guy regardless. Okay. So where does that put him? Like if he was in the WWE today, like Brock Lesnar's announced at like 290. Yeah. I think it just goes to show the size difference in wrestling, how it's just completely diminished.
And how you've lost a lot of believability. I believe Chains would beat the ever-living crap out of me if I looked at him cross-sided. Finn Balor, not so much.
We had our kind of kick out of this because apparently they didn't bleep anything back then. Farouk shut the F up to a fan, clear as day. So that's two F-bombs on the show that didn't get bleeped. I got a kick out of that because especially it turned into, Chains getting the upper hand because Farouk was distracted by the fan. But during the match, Michael Cole comes back on. So not only do we got a match going on, but we're continuing that storyline. So he says Vince McMahon has arrived at the hospital. Terry Funk has regained consciousness, but Foley's slipping back and forth, in and out. He's going to come back if he has any more information. So there's that thread planted. Again, the story is not over. Don't forget about this. But now Kama messes up again, and this is the second time it's happened. I don't remember if it was last week or the show before that, but there's a reversal, and he grabs Farouk when he's trying to grab his opponent. So Farouk gets PO'd, rolls out of the ring, and him and Kama get arguing. So that causes the count out. Chains wins by count out. But while that's going on, the nation has to pull them apart. And Kama's like, you're nothing. He's going off and off and off, but which was really cool because by the time they got back up on the stage, Farouk had asserted his dominance and got him back in line. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And made him salute. So he's asserting his dominance there to at least have a united front going into the 10-man match here at the pay-per-view.
I'm surprised, bro, when Farouk was taking control back over. I'm surprised there wasn't any more Rock ISOs, which mean, a camera isolating. That's an ISO. A camera isolating Rock's facials, because I thought we could have told much, much more of a story there.
After that, we have the match with Windham and Jarrett versus Bradshaw, and Flash Funk ends up being his partner there.
What about JR saying that Jarrett is representing the Aztec Indian nation, bro? Why is it that, like, I sit there on Monday nights, I don't laugh at one thing like JBL says. Like, I'll just sit there and say, bro, that's the freaking stupidest thing I've ever heard. But JR, like, pops me with something, like, on every single match, bro.
Bradshaw gets the win. Okay, first, I'm sorry. The NWA, the Rock and Roll Express, they take out Flash Funk ringside, so he has to be helped that way by the referee, so he can't continue in the match. So that way it leaves Bradshaw by himself against Jarrett and Windham, and Bradshaw ends up getting the win. He pins Jarrett after hitting his clothesline from hell, which I don't know if it was called that at the time, but that's what the move was. And he pins Jarrett. Cornette comes in the ring and hits him with the loaded racket, and then Bradshaw initially, he stumbles, but then he no-sells it, turns around, takes out Cornette, but then the NWA regroups and they take out Bradshaw. See my dog there? Look at this. She wants to get on the. Nope, she just backed out.
Let her on, man.
Okay, so we go to Michael Cole again, and he's talking about there's all hell is broken loose at the hospital. They've called the police in, and he's breaking up and he's losing his signal. And then he keeps coming back in talking about police have showed up and security. He doesn't know what's going on. You can tell it's chaotic, and they lose the signal with Michael Cole. So again, what's coming next? You know what I mean? It's not dropped. And then Wink Collins is in the ring.
He was the shoot PR guy from the WWE. His name was Bob Collins. A very eccentric, the PR guy, worked for Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey before he worked for the WWE, worked at the WWE for years. He's really like that in real life. And the last I checked in, he was running his own PR firm in Florida about 4 years ago.
He's in the ring to announce that WrestleMania sold out. It was like 90 seconds or something. It was a record at the time. But Kane and Paul Bearer come out to interrupt, and Bearer wants Kane to demonstrate what The Undertaker went through on Wink Collins. But Vader comes out before Kane can do anything, and Vader challenges Kane to a match at the No Way Out pay-per-view coming up. Says he's going to put out his fire now, and he grabs a fire extinguisher. He blasts Kane with it. The crowd was going crazy for this. I think he must have unloaded the entire thing on Kane. I mean, just like nonstop. So Kane, he sells it, gets his bearings back, and then he wants to go in and fight Vader, but Paul Bearer says no, controls him. Vader hits him again, but with the extinguisher, but Bearer gets Kane to walk away and not fight him.
Bro, can you imagine 18 years later, they're closing a pay-per-view with this guy?
But then we go to the final match, which is Road Dogg versus Austin. And Austin, after he comes out, he just goes right after Billy Gunn outside the ring and Road Dogg, and he doesn't care. He's beating the crap out of both of them. It gets into the ring, and the match starts, but immediately Billy Gunn runs in, causing the DQ. Austin gets a stunner on Billy Gunn. He's taken out. Then he starts whooping on Road Dogg, and then DX comes out, and they drag Austin out of the ring, and all of them are doing a gang beatdown on Austin. And JR is putting over. Michaels doesn't want to face Austin at this point. I don't know if everybody heard that, but I thought that was a real key. He's getting over the story of what's going on while it's happening. Michaels does not want to face Austin, so that's why they're doing this attack on him. But it ends up in the ring, and we get another very iconic shot that's replayed over and over from the Attitude Era. When they tie Austin up in the ropes, and HBK grabs him by the chin and shoves that belt in his face. This was the iconic shot that built to WrestleMania at this point on. This was heat. You don't see this today. You really don't.
That look on Austin's face, like you couldn't repeat that. You could not repeat that today. That look on his, bro. You want to talk about a guy so in the moment. So I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is who I am. This is what they are doing to me. That's unbelievable, bro. That's a De Niro level or a Pacino level or a Hoffman level. That facial.
But yeah, I mean that's heat, and that's exactly what you've been pointing out, the difference between how Shawn Michaels was booked and how Seth Rollins is booked. You wouldn't see Seth Rollins doing that to Brock Lesnar or John Cena or, you know what I mean, anybody like that today. It's just a completely different philosophy with booking the heels. But then we find out what the chaos was at the hospital as Foley and Funk come out still in their hospitals. Foley's still attached to an IV. He's got the pole with him. So obviously this was the chaos that Michael Cole was talking about. This is why cops were called, because I'm sure they were trying to stop them from leaving the hospital. You don't need that spelled out for you. I mean, this spells that out. So they end up chasing off DX and the Outlaws. It shows how insanely crazy these two are, that they don't give a crap that they were in the hospital. Austin ends up coming back out, and he has a DX shirt, and he rips it up as they go off the air.
Well, the thing I remembered about this, we got so much heat from the internet the next day with Foley and Funk coming out still tied to IVs. Mick freaking hated that, bro. That was 100% Vince McMahon's idea. He thought the funniest thing in the world would be those guys coming down the stage still hooked up to IVs. I thought it was ridiculous. I watched it back today. I still thought it was ridiculous, but I'm not saying that to put the heat on Vince. Some people liked it. Some people thought it was great, but I just remember like vividly, like that was the one thing he had to do. They're both going to be hooked up to IVs. I remember Mick telling me the next day, like he freaking like just thought we killed the whole thing. And I was like, brother, Vince had his heart set on doing the IV thing. So don't ask me.
Next week is February 9th, 1998.